Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will be talking about how you can use Kubernetes with MongoDB, and we will be using persistent volume claim, because in previous video which I made with Kubernetes, MongoDB and NextJS, I was not using persistent volume claim. In this video I will be using persistent volume claim. So let's get started. So first let me give you a demo of the application. Now I'm not running on Kubernetes, I'm just running on my local host. So this is a NextJS application. Okay, so here you can see I already have this email, so I'll just add one more email. So josh at gmail.com. Now do remember this email, because what I personally feel is whenever we are using using MongoDB or any kind of database, I have seen people creating like pulling the Docker image of suppose MongoDB from Docker Hub. Personally I don't really like this. So in this, what happens in this localhost environment is I already have a MongoDB instance running on mongodb.com, so it is not, so I don't have MongoDB installed on my local computer. So I have hosted and I'm just communicating with mongodb.com. okay, so that particular database. So keep that in mind, because later on what I personally feel, it's better not to use MongoDB with Kubernetes or any kind of a database, even with Docker. Let the big guys like AWS, Google Cloud or MongoDB themselves handle the database part, because things can go severely wrong. Again, I have seen a lot of people saying that if you use MongoDB with Kubernetes, it will make your life much more easier. According to me, like for an average guy like me who does not have great knowledge of Kubernetes, it might make things difficult. So it depends on you how you want to use it. So I'm just giving you a just a suggestion. Anyways, let's get started. We have a lot to cover. So here you can see I'm just using NextJS. Alright, so inside package.json I have just installed one extra dependency called Mongoose. That's it. Then inside app I have created one API folder, and here I have created users route.ts. so this will basically help us to get and post the users. So here you can see I will show you these files in a bit. So here I have this connectdb, here is user model. So here is the getting all the users, and here we are posting the users which we are getting. All right, then inside lib db.ts, here you can see, so I have defined this mongodb underscore URI inside my .env file, so make sure you add that as well. So inside this I have referenced the database which is hosted on mongodb.com. that's why I'm not showing you the URI, but hopefully you got the point. Okay, so here we are just connecting to our database, and I have also created this models folder. Inside that, here we have this users model. All right, so that's what this is. Then here I have created one components folder as well. We have where we have the create user form. Now here, don't try to create a user. If you're trying to do this for production application, you should not use this particular method of use state and use state over here. Maybe you should use something like this time stack query, or something like HWR, still while revalidate library, or maybe server actions, if you feel like that's the right choice for you. But don't use this approach. It's just that I want to get things quick and running. NextJS is not the part of this tutorial, that's why. Okay, so here I have added use state as well as use router. Here is some name and email fields. So once the form is submitted, we are just calling the API and sending all the data back. Then we are setting name and email as empty, and just doing router.refresh, and here is the form. So this is the input email, this is the name input, email input, and this is the button. Okay, so hopefully you got the point. Then here is our page.tsx. so here you can see this is suspend as well as create user form. So this is the create user form, and we are wrapping this loading users with this suspense fallback. So here is our user list, so we just call get users, and inside get users, here you can see we are just making a API call. Again, inside base URL, inside your .env, make sure you add http://localhost:3000, because given that the API is part of NextJS, the base URL will change when we try to use Docker or when we try to use Kubernetes. That's why even the base URL I have kept it inside .env file. Okay, so yeah, that's it, and here we are just displaying the users. Now let's go to the Docker file. So here you can see I have created a one Docker file. So all I'm just doing is getting node 22 alpine work directory. Okay, here you can see I'm copying package.json, then I'm running npm install, then I'm copying rest of the files, running npm run build. again getting from node 2012 working directory. If you want, this is just an optional step. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And here we are just copying rest of the files. Okay, and here env is production, environment is production, exposing 3000 port, and here we are running our application. Okay, so hopefully you got it. Then make sure you have already logged in with Docker. So I have already have Docker desktop enabled, and I have also enabled Kubernetes. So I'm not using Minikube, I'm using Docker desktop's Kubernetes, because that's, according to me, is way simpler. Yeah, and also make sure you are logged in with Docker Hub on your terminal, because we need to push this image to your own Docker Hub. So here first we need to run this particular command. Also I have added docker ignore as well, so I am ignoring the k8s as well as node modules folder. I'll talk about the k8s folder later on. So first let's come to docker file, sorry, not docker file, this page.tsx. I'll close the rest of this files. So first here, instead of brave evidence, wherever I have written brave evidence, make sure you replace with your own Docker Hub image name, username, sorry. Okay, so I'll just copy this. So here I'm just building our docker file. So I'll just close our localhost. I'll just run this. Okay, so it is building. Okay, I'll just click on allow. In the meantime, let's go to the k8s folder, because this takes a bit of time. Okay, so here you can see I have created k8s. So first one is deployment.yaml. so here you can see this is for our NextJS application, so I have given it some name. Replicas is one, match labels I have added as app NextJS, metadata label app NextJS, and here also container name NextJS. Now this name is very important, so keep it same, and this name will be used in other files as well. And here you can see this is the name of our username, followed by whatever image name you have given. That's what you need to reflect over here. So if you remember, we have passed this name, right? So make sure you reference same name over here as well. Port container port 3000. Then here env we are referencing the secrets from this NextJS secret file. Then here I have created this service.yaml. Let me quickly check. Okay, so that building is done. Let me quickly push it to Docker Hub as well. So this is the command for pushing the image to Docker Hub. So I'll just copy this, because this commands take a bit of time. That's why I'm doing this right now only. I don't want to waste your time. Let's go to service.yaml. So here you can see API version is v1, kind is service. This is the name which I have given, and here you can see inside selector app I'm using NextJS. So this name should match whatever you have defined over here as well as over here. That's why I asked you to keep the name same. And here port is 80, target port 3000, protocol TCP, and type is of node port. Then here I have created a secret.yaml. So here you can see we have just defined an API version, kind, metadata, type, string data, and here inside base URL you have to give something like this, because we are using node port. So if you remember, inside .env I had added this base URL of http://localhost:3000, right? But in Kubernetes I have to use something like this, because I am using node port. Then for MongoDB we require this initdb root username, initdb root password, and init database, and MongoDB URI as well. Okay, so make sure you don't add this variables name over here, because there is you can't really write JavaScript code over here, but we do require this stuff as well for MongoDB. That's why we have added this. Okay, so hopefully you got the point. Then you need to go to mongodb.yaml, and here you can see I have added an API version, kind deployment, name is Mongo app, then replica selector app, here again Mongo app, template app Mongo app as well. And if you see over here, I have added this service at the rate service-mongodb, right? Because here where did it go? Service dash. So here we have defined the name as service-mongodb. So I just wanted to tell you that, otherwise I keep forgetting this stuff. Then here I have defined a spec, containers. Here is our name, image. Then here is our volume mounts. If you want, you can just comment this out as well. I'll just comment this out for now. I want to show you guys one thing. So this volume mounts is basically the persistent volume thing which I was talking about. So in case if you don't know persistent volume, I'll talk more about it soon. So here is our ports. Here I have defined the container ports. Here I am allowing all IP. Then here are all the environment variables which I'm referencing, and again this is part of persistent volume claim as well. So the persistent volume claim name which I have given is mongo-vol. That's what I'm referencing over here as well. So if you want, you can comment this code out as well, but I will keep it for now, because this does not fully enable persistent volume claim, you require this particular bit of code as well. Okay, and here is our service for MongoDB. Then if you see, I have defined two more files. One is for persistent volume, so here you define all the stuff. Again, this is boilerplate code which you have to write. All right, and this is persistent volume claim, again boilerplate code which you have to write. So here the name is host-pvc, right? So I think same name I'm referencing over here, host-pvc. so hopefully you got the point. And inside host.pvc I'm referencing this volume name as host-pv, which comes from over here, host-pv. Okay, so this is done. I'll just save this as well. Now for the first time I am not enabling persistent volume claim, because I want to show you what will happen if we don't have persistent volume claim. So here you can see, that's why I've commented this code out. So what I'll do is I'll just close this. I'll go to page.tsx. so here you can see our push was successful as well. Now I will just apply all kubectl to all of this Kubernetes files. So I'll just apply this quickly, and let's run this so that this will help us get the node port which our application is running on. So it is running on 30661. So I'll just come over here, and here I'll just type 30661, and here you can see our application running. So I can just type something like abc, and below I'll just type abc@gmail.com. I'll just click on create user. So it has created the user. If I refresh, here you can see the data is persisted as well. Now what if your MongoDB deployment goes down? So let me quickly show you. Here this is how you get deployments. So kubectl get deployments. Here you can see Mongo is ready, right, up to date, available. Now I'll purposefully kill Mongo app, like make the pod down. This is the name, right, mongo-app. So to delete it, you can just do kubectl delete deployment mongo-app. So now again I'll just do kubectl get deployments. Here you can see we only see NextJS deployment. So typically you will see, okay, so I'll just do something like this, kubectl apply. So this will bring back MongoDB again. So you'll have to wait. So it is not available yet. Let's just wait for a few seconds. So it is available. Now what will happen if I refresh? Our data is getting lost. So hopefully you got this, right? Now we'll apply persistent volume claim. So first I'll just delete this existing one as well, just so that I don't mess up. Okay, I have deleted this. Okay, and I'll just uncomment this line of code, and then I'll just do kubectl apply -f creates. All right, now let's just try to refresh. Okay, so here again we don't have any user. That's fine. So I'll just create one user, abcd, and here I'll just name it as abcd@gmail.com. I'll just click on create user. I'll refresh. Okay, so the user is still there. Now what I'll do is I'll just do kubectl delete. Okay, delete this deployment. Okay, so MongoDB is deleted. Now again I'll just do kubectl apply -f aids. Then I'll do kubectl get deployments. Let's just wait for MongoDB to get up. Okay, so it is up. Now if I refresh, here you can see the data is persisted. Okay, so this is fine. Now the thing which I was talking at the start, right, I personally don't like writing database related code inside my Kubernetes file. So typically what I would do, I'm not sure if this is the right approach or not, maybe you can correct me. So what I would typically do is I'll just remove this host.pv.yaml, host.pvc.yaml, mongodb.yaml. I'll just keep this deployment.yaml, secret.yaml, and service.yaml. And the important thing inside secret.yaml is you just have to comment out this line, 3 lines of code, and instead of mongodb-uri, you will have to pass the actual mongodb URI, which I was using for my local instance, right, which was hosted on mongodb.com. So that's all I'm saying. So let's try that. So I'll quickly change this URL and come back. Okay, so I have updated the URL and I have commented all these files out, host-pvc, host-pvc, pv, and mongodb.yaml. Let's do one thing, kubectl get deployments. Let's just delete mongodb-app, and we'll also delete NextJS-deployment as well, because I will apply. Okay, I'll just apply kubectl apply -f creates. Okay, now let's get the deployments. Okay, so we only have NextJS deployment, which is fine. Now let's, if you remember on localhost, okay, so this has stopped on localhost 3000. We have added Josh. Here you can see we are able to see Josh on our Kubernetes cluster as well. So yeah, that's what I was talking about, but again it's up to you how you want to use it. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.